Now that these characters have made it to the big screen, how's their first appearance in comics holding up? Are they characters like Spider-Man, which is a cultural staple to many different generations and will always stand the test of time, or is it more of a Gorr the God Butcher, which has fallen completely dead in the water? We are sticking with MCU and Sony here. Alphabetically, we're going to start with Adam Warlock. I said I was going to keep my opinion out of it, but I actually didn't super dig Adam Warlock, but maybe we just need to see more. How's his first appearance doing? It's definitely taken a hit. I would actually go so far as to say it has been wounded. We are going to pop that into the wounded category. This is a book we've seen go down in value since his debut. Agatha Harkness. I loved Agatha Harkness, and I'm excited for the show dropping. God, I hope it's not terrible. As of right now, that book actually got a nice boost after her first appearance. It's actually one of several on this list doing better because of the media attention. America Chavez. This is a key that once was incredibly expensive. It is now so much cheaper to get this that we are actually going to plop it down in the dead category, and it's going to be our first but not last entry of that. Ant-Man Hank Pym. This remains unaffected. We're going to pop that right in the unaffected pile. Some characters on this list, the key is just too old, too classic, that good or bad, it really isn't going to sway it. Ant-Man's our first on the list. Ant-Man Scott Lang, still a desirable key, of course. There's also a couple things that make that key valuable. However, it has taken a ding. We're going to put it under the dinged category. Arnim Zola. This is another one of those characters that I really liked the portrayal in the MCU, but I'm always shocked by its current comic book price tag. Incredibly affordable key here despite its age. It did take a ding. Arthur Harrow is the villain that came out of nowhere, rose to fame, and now is pretty much back to where it started. Pretty much in the dollar bins. This book is dead. Aisha, this is an interesting one, or her, similar to Adam Warlock. This is a character that was so under the radar that because of the Guardians movies, people actually know her now. So this is a book that, even though it's incredibly affordable, was resurrected from dollar bins. This thing actually has a price tag, no matter how small, it got a boost. Black Panther is a key that's actually been wounded, and this just goes to show you, this is also a list that is books affected more by the market than sometimes the quality, because obviously Black Panther was well received, but his key just keeps getting more and more and more affordable. Black Widow's first appearance, this is another one I'm going to park under wounded. That's that mid to higher level tier key. They're all taking hits right now because of the economy. Bullseye actually got a boost. I was almost going to put him in unaffected, but there actually has been a slight bump with his key value. It's now been a little while since we've had season 3, but we do now know that Bullseye is going to be in the next show. Captain America, unaffected. Guys, we're talking about a major key from the 40s. Doesn't matter how good or how bad the movies would have been, that's not going anywhere. Carnage. This is almost dead. We're actually going to park it under wounded in a category called slashed to the core. Perfect raw copies of this now sell for $100, which for many years was an unthought of price for that book. Carol Danvers' first appearance is quite wounded, and I unfortunately think this one is a quality issue. I do think Carol Danvers is not a favorite when it comes to the MCU. Weird casting, not a fan. Book is hurt as a result. Cassandra Nova is gonna get a boost. This was always like a $10 book. Comic readers knew her. Now moviegoers know her, and it's helped give her quite a boost. This was a well-received character, and there you go. Crossbones remains unaffected. All his keys are incredibly affordable, $5, $10 right in that pocket. They haven't gone up, they haven't gone down. They're exactly what they were. Dar-Benn. This was already going to be a character you knew that was going to be dead. Very, very, very few comic book appearances. This completely random Silver Surfer book is not really doing anything for value. This book is dead. Daredevil got a little bit of a ding here. More so the economy than what the show did. We have seen quite a ding in the first appearance of Daredevil. I almost put it at wounded. Doctor Strange, interestingly, got a boost. So there are some bona fide keys there that ever since the big screen actually are bigger. And to this day, even despite the economy, are so big. Drax, this is a double key. Remember, Thanos' first appearance is the same book as Drax, so that definitely helps Drax out. I don't know how much Drax on his own would have done it, but because of the double key, this is actually one that got a boost. Echo, Dead in the Water, man. This perfect looking copy raw is now like a $30, maybe $40 book. What a nightmare. That show was incredibly boring. It's a shame. They should have stopped after Hawkeye, or they should have done something really different. Ego takes a ding. Only gonna take a ding because, after all, it is a very old 60s book. Sometimes that stuff's just gonna do still well. Think a character like that that's totally come and gone would be in the water, but it's not a modern book. It's still a desirable run. Electro also took a ding. Again, this is a single-digit ASM book. It's going to do well in any market, even despite the fact that we've already got our Electro in the big screen. Eternals, not dead. I actually put this as slash to the core. A perfect-looking copy you can still sell for $50. It's a far cry from the prices during COVID, but whatever. It's still something. Falcon. I was shocked when I was looking at the prices of Falcon. Not what I remember from 5 years ago at all. It's been a while since I've had and sold one, but I was noticing it's quite a dip. Flag Smasher. Absolutely dead. This was once a $50 perfect condition book. No. Dude, I can't get rid of this thing for $10. Dead, dead, dead. Gaia. Critically kind of right in the middle. A lot of people weren't in love with it. I don't think anyone really hated it. It didn't make any tracks, and Gaia was only a 2018 or 19 character that came out. So it's honestly pretty unaffected. Gamora definitely took a hit here. It is still expensive, but if you look at what the prices were doing when she was first introduced, yeah, this book's taken quite a hit. Ghost actually got a boost. This is a character I certainly didn't know about. It was only like a $5 book before, and now it's like a $20 book raw, so it actually got a boost. Gorr the God Butcher. I mentioned it at the beginning. This book is dead, and it's kind of a shame, but this is a very recent modern entry here. Christian Bale delivered a great performance, but it just didn't matter. We're not going to see Gorr again. He has come and gone dead in the water. Groot remains unaffected. This is a very tough book to find. I've had the pleasure of owning one. This is a book that's just going to sell. It didn't matter if the movies were going to be good or bad. Remains unaffected. Happy Hogan got a boost. Very nice. This is a book that I think was pretty under the radar before 2007. So I think the MCU has done some wonderful things for this character. Hawkeye, definitely taken a hit. This is once again like the Black Widow, Black Panther, mid to higher tier characters that just are feeling the effects of the economy more than the success of the movies. So this book has come down from where it was, still not affordable. High Evolutionary. This is a weird one because critically this was a well-received character, but he's come and gone, and his key has actually been slashed to the core. Was pretty shocked at how affordable this book has become. Howard the Duck, unaffected. Obviously, he was barely in the MCU, but he was there. Hulk, unaffected. This is another bona fide key, almost to the levels of Captain America, maybe to the levels of Captain America. Good or bad, nothing would have changed that. Inhumans, slashed to the core. Not dead by any means. Comic readers still love the Inhumans, but they were treated terribly in the MCU, and it is hurting it. Iron Fist's value is great despite a critical panned show. It actually is only dinged, I would say. It's still quite valuable. Iron Man, you already knew, was going to get a boost. Robert Downey Jr. made it a household name. It wasn't before. Thank you. Ironheart, we got another one that we're going to have to call Dead in the Water. This was a completely misused character. Even though she was fine, it wasn't particularly memorable, and they made her basically a Power Ranger. Honestly, I bet a lot of you forgot that she was even in the MCU. Jane Foster, after Thor 4, we probably would have seen this book be dead if it was a modern character. Luckily, her first appearance came right after Thor's first appearance, so it's an extremely desirable key. Still, no movie's going to really hurt that. It is going to take a ding, though. Jessica Jones, great show. Season 1, particularly. We're going to mark it as dinged. In this market, to still only take a ding is pretty good. Jimmy Woo got a boost. This is a character that was not a household name, and because of the MCU, people know him. John Walker. This book and all his keys, and there are quite a few cameos, first cover, first costume, all his keys are pretty much dead. Some of them were like $50 books. They're kind of more like 10, 20. Sorry, John Walker. Julia Carpenter slashed to the core, and that's a damn shame. That was always my favorite of the Spider-Women. Justin Hammer got a boost. Definitely a character that most people didn't know, unless they were hardcore Iron Man readers. And again, Iron Man was B tier, and now people know him really well. That really helps Justin Hammer. Caecilius was a okay, mid-level, fine received villain in the MCU. Could have been better, could have been worse. Gets a ding, which in this market is not bad. Claw, the major villain to Black Panther. A character I love. I also love Andy Serkis. This is a book that, of course, has come down. So many books have, but only to the point where I would call it a ding. Lady Sif. Interestingly, this is a very mishandled character. I think that Lady Sif needed way more screen time than we actually got. And despite the MCU mishandling her, this character actually did receive a boost. Very desirable key. It's old, protected by the Silver Age, got a nice boost. Loki remains unaffected. This is a super, super well-known character, one of the most iconic villains in all of comic books. I don't think even if the movies did really poorly with him, which they didn't, I think Loki is one of the MCU's greatest successes, this book was always going to do what it was going to do. Luke Cage remains unaffected, even though we haven't seen him in years. This is a very desirable book. That Black Spine, they're hard to find in high grade. This is a very sought out one. M'Baku first appeared in Avengers. This is another Black Panther character, and unlike a lot of the other ones that were wounded, this one's only dinged. This book is still pretty desirable. Madam Web slashed to the core. I probably didn't even need to mention this one. You probably know. Not dead, it's still something, and I kind of hate this because she's a favorite comic character of mine for Spider-Man. I hate what happened to this. Malekith slashed to the core. You can typically find this for pretty cheap now. I think he was one of the worst MCU villains, which is a bit of a shame. Mandarin, believe it or not, despite being in the Silver Age, does get a bad hit. This has become flat out affordable, which is a surprise, especially since Marvel eventually did him right. Mantis. First appearance of Mantis is a great key, one that I've actually never owned. I've owned almost everything on this list except for Hulk and Captain America. Taking a hit, but not that bad. We're going to put this one at wounded. Maria Hill is dead. First of all, pun intended, she did actually die, but absolutely destroyed. Maddie Franklin. We're going to have two deads in a row. Look at this. Maddie Franklin is another victim to the terrible Madam Web movie, and it's a shame. MODOK, we're going to do Slash to the Core. It's pretty shocking what this book goes for now. It's become an affordable book, thanks to Ant-Man 3, which I loved, but I do recognize that MODOK was probably not a star of the show on that one. Monica Rambeau, unfortunately, is dead, and this is a character I really like, and I actually think the MCU handled her well. In fact, I think they've given her more screen time than I would have thought. Whatever reason, her first appearance is like $20 now. Dude, that's crazy. Moon Knight, wounded. Luckily, the first appearance of Moon Knight is still such an unbelievably desirable and scarce key to get, especially in high grade, that even though the show has come and gone, it's still the first appearance of Moon Knight, and it'll never be dead, but it has taken quite a hit. Morbius, slashed to the core. This is another one of those that has become affordable. So a lot of people kind of have these movies to thank. It's kind of a great time to buy these characters. Thanks to a bad movie, Morbius' first appearance is now affordable. Ms. Marvel. So I'm talking about Kamala Khan here. Dude, unfortunately, I actually think her keys are dead. Even the first appearance here. What a shame. I actually think she's one of the best written characters created in the last 20 years. And her keys are just not very desirable right now. Mysterio, unaffected, and honestly, Jake Gyllenhaal, I loved. Namor got a boost. Now, Namor is already an A-lister, but probably even more now. I think, actually, the MCU had a very small impact. I do think it got a boost because, dang, it's in Marvel Comics #1. That book's only going to go up. Nebula, pretty unaffected. I almost put it in unaffected, but I think it's a pinch lower, so we're putting it at dinged. Nick Fury remains unaffected. Nick Fury's had he was in 20 different movies now. It's crazy. Obadiah Stane got a boost. This, weirdly enough, was like a Dar-Benn character. And even though his first appearance, I still consider to be the most underrated Marvel comic book of all time, it's at least $5 to $10 now. That's something. It's a boost. Phyla-Vell remains unaffected. Yeah, a lot of you might not have even known that she was in the MCU. We got a glimpse. So it's still maybe too early to say for this one. Red Guardian, dude, this key is dead in the water. God. And this is one of the ones that's from the Silver Age. I'm actually surprised how badly this was affected. One of the biggest hits that I think is a result of the MCU more than the actual market, unfortunately. Rhino definitely got a little bit wounded on this one. Rhino's going to be in the new Kraven movie. We'll see if that does anything. I bet it's not. Riot, Lasher, Scream, all those. Wow. Venom, the movie. That is a came and gone 15 minutes of fame villain. That book is dead, man. Wow. Rocket Raccoon, unfortunately, despite being so beloved, is a key that's been slashed to the core. Now, what happens is when you have a popular character, a lot of people submit that book. That book has taken a beating. It used to be over $1,000 in a 9.8. I literally just picked one up for $400. Ronan. This is a book that is desirable, but not as much. It has taken a ding. Scarlet Witch remains completely unaffected. I actually think Scarlet Witch is one of the MCU's biggest successes, maybe even got a little bit of a boost. Shang-Chi definitely took a ding. This is one of those where, like I said, people got excited about the book because of the movie. I think a lot of people submitted it. There's just more of this book that hit the market, so supply and demand, it's gone down a little bit. Sharon Carter, this is a character I keep forgetting about that it even exists in the MCU. This is a book that's slashed to the core. Pretty crazy to see a Silver Age book get slashed to the core like this, but this book's taken a beating. No one really cares. She-Hulk, not dead, but just above dead. It's still obviously the first appearance of She-Hulk, a beloved comic book character. This is a lot of people's favorite character. The show didn't handle her very well. I see very fines of this actually selling for $50, $60 now. It's ridiculous. Shocker. Barely got him in the MCU, but we got him. Another one of those mid-level villains right there. Protected by the Silver Age, and I think that helps it not be so hurt so bad, but it's definitely wounded. Sonny Birch. Do you even remember who this is? Played by Walton Goggins in Ant-Man #2. Resurrected from the Dar-Benn pile. If I ever have this at a claim sale, it's a solid $5 book because people are like, oh yeah, that's that dude. Spider-Man. If there were nothing but the crappiest movies for the next 50 years of Spider-Man, his key would still be exactly where it is. This is unaffected. Star-Lord, actually, I put here on dinged. I might have to change that to wounded. That is definitely a book that's taken a beating, and that's actually a magazine format book that his first appearance is in. Not quite what I would refer to as affordable, but it's taken a huge hit. Talos, the Untamed. This is a Skrull character that got resurrected from the Dar-Benns. Yes, first Talos. This is an awesome character. I actually did dig him in the MCU, even though I'm not a Captain Marvel fan. And even though I wasn't the biggest Secret Invasion fan, I like Talos. Thor. That book's going to be unaffected. You already know it. First appearance of Thor. I also think Thor, if you ignore the last movie, was one of the MCU's best successes. Ultron, down, but probably more of a market thing than the MCU thing. Also, we heard that he's coming back, so that could be cool. Valkyrie, this is one that got slashed to the core, and I don't really know why, because I think Valkyrie was a character handled well in the MCU. Regardless, sometimes the economy is just going to do what it's going to do, and she's not big enough to be well protected, so down we go. Vulture. Guys, first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man #2. Some of these characters, it's not going to matter what happens to it. It's completely unaffected, protected by the fact that it's such a desirable ASM key. War Machine remains a bit wounded, although I think it's still a desirable one, and another one of, I think, the MCU's successes. Wasp is one of those Silver Age books that has taken a ding, but it's more of the market just settling down a bit rather than the MCU. Werewolf by Night did make that little one-shot Disney thing appearance. A lot of people didn't watch it, though, to be honest. And I was late to the party. I thought it was amazing, though. Completely unaffected. Believe it or not, Whiplash, unaffected. I think that this was kind of a meh movie, a little bit mediocre, but you know what? It is quotable. I still joke around, I want my bird. White Vision. I didn't just include Vision, I said White Vision, because currently that's what we have for Vision. He is the White Vision right now. Dude, this book is dead, man. I saw some crazy highs, and now it's like a $10, $15 book again. Winter Soldier. All Captain America keys have taken a hit, especially if they're from the modern age. So this is one that's been wounded quite a bit. Yondu stood the test of time, and I would actually say that that first appearance has only been dinged. Completely unknown character that they really did an amazing job. A character sought through all the way to the end. One of my favorites from the MCU. Final entry here is the Young Avengers. This is an umbrella term for many first appearances that make up a team, dead before it even happened. Before we even get some sort of Young Avengers, if we get a Young Avengers, these characters are dead. This is a book that was once $1,000 or more, 9.8 under a CGC slab, and it is a $100 book now. There can't be a colder key. This book is deader than death. Guys, let me know, has your favorite character gotten a boost? Or are you jumping for joy now that your favorite character has fallen so far that it's affordable? Let me know in the comments below. What's a book that you can realistically obtain now that the market's done its thing? Let me know and keep on hunting. Make sure to come on down to Sentiment Depot's Antiques and Collectibles, located at 238 West Delaware Ave in Pennington, New Jersey. Find so many great books for just $1 and the lowest prices on key comics around. Enjoy a huge selection of graded comics priced up to 20% lower than current fair market value. We are open from Wednesday to Sunday, closed Monday, Tuesday. You got a collection you want to sell? Bring that too. Can't wait to see you there.